Hi, welcome back. I'm Anastasia Bartolucci, and this is Reeling in the Stars. We are here concluding our last segment of interviews with author casimclean, talking about her new book, Wingless Butterfly: Confessions of a Recovering Jerk Magnet. Cassie, you've given us the privilege of hearing a little bit about your story and taking us through this journey of how you've changed your life. Can you just tell us about the New Beginnings section of your book and why you chose to include that?
Yes, New Beginnings is just that. It tells about new beginnings. When I unraveled my past, I went through an amazing transformation. But it's not because I discovered any profound knowledge. I mean, my story was intriguing and I learned a lot of things, many of which I didn't want to know. But I found out that the decisions I made throughout my entire life were based on faulty information. I believe that, like me, there are so many individuals that walk through their life making all their decisions based on their beliefs or what they believe to be true about themselves. And I think that their lives can truly change. The one thing I'm absolutely sure of is if we can shatter the broken reflection in the mirror of our past, we can heal. And only then can we truly find happiness.
Perfectly said. But just tell us a little bit more about New Beginnings and what it is that you're talking about and trying to reach out to people.
I have compiled the life lessons that I learned along my journey. I believe it's 13 segments. Different segments like baggage. Everyone has baggage. If they tell you they don't, they're lying. We can't help but carry our past along with us in some capacity. But I have found that the past does not have to define us. It's always going to be part of who we are, but we can learn from it. As long as we learn from things and don't have those things drag us down, then we can move on and we can move forward with our lives. The one thing that you have to remember is if you keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and you show patterns, you're dating the same kind of people and it always ends up the same way, the common denominator is you.
Where you have to just begin to reevaluate yourself in that sequence of events.
Right. You're creating patterns and you have to figure out what events in your past, what has happened in your past that has made you continually go in that direction and make the same mistakes over and over.
Right.
When you discover that, then you're on the way to moving forward with your life.
And how do we change who we are?
The first step is to stop playing the victim. You know, with all the things that have happened in my life, I probably could pull everything together and hide in my room and throw a lifelong pity party. But what good does that do?
None.
You have to let go of the things that happened to you and move forward. It doesn't matter how hard it is and how many times you keep asking, how can I forgive or how can I forget this? You just have to. You have to let go of it. Understand that if people do something, generally it's for themselves and not against you. And if you can kind of keep that in mind, it's easier to let go of past pain. If you think that somebody has mistreated you or done something wrong to you, if you stay a victim, you empower them to steal your happiness.
Exactly, and to take control.
That's right.
So tell us more about New Beginnings. I mean, this is just very interesting to me, the fact that you just make the book cyclical like this and bring it back to the self-help portion.
Well, I talk a lot about the lessons that I learned, discovering what true beauty is. I told you once before that I was a pretty girl, and it made me believe something specific about my past. But beauty is only skin deep, and I started to identify with that. I mean, my looks were the one thing significant I had, and I was holding on to that. But then I got older, and I got married, and I got pregnant, and I got a stretched out body, and I started to get wrinkles in my face. Beauty fades. The thing is, that's not what beauty really is. If you discover what true beauty is, it comes from inside of you. And there's a segment in my book about true beauty and discovering what true beauty really is. And when I discovered that, I could totally let go of my feelings about beauty.
Because then you're not holding on to something perishable.
Absolutely. Beauty is definitely fleeting. I also talk about anger and the part it plays. My ex-husband had real issues with anger, and that really controlled his life. And I go into a lot about the cost of anger. I talk about forgiveness and taking responsibility for your own actions, because you play a part in every relationship you're in.
Absolutely. It's always two people that can create a mess.
Right. I think one of the biggest sections and the most important sections, or the most important thing that I learned, was about fear. fear prevents people from doing so much in their lives. And I guess, you know, I always used to think that a lot of people were just more courageous than me. But to me, I finally figured out that courage is just a word. I think everybody gets afraid, but courageous people just move on despite their fear instead of letting their fear control their lives.
Right.
I discovered the dead body of one of my neighbors years and years ago when I was newly married, and it triggered some disabling anxiety attacks, panic attacks.
Rightfully so.
And
traumatic.
And I just, for a period of time, I was getting these panic attacks, and I didn't know where they were coming from. And of course, back then, this was in the early 80s. There wasn't Prozac. There wasn't anything that you could do to control the anxiety that I was having back then. And it was really a sense of fear. You just get a shot of adrenaline that is a fear in your body. It's surely as if you were standing in front of a Mack truck that was headed right at you. Right. And that really was a huge blow to my self-confidence. But over time, I learned to control those feelings, and I think that it really put fear in perspective for me. Because if I could conquer that, I realized I could conquer just about anything. Too many people are afraid to take a step, afraid to fly, afraid to be in front of people, afraid to move forward in their lives, afraid to date somebody they really like. You have to get past that fear and believe in yourself. And I think that that's probably the biggest lesson I had to learn. I think there's also one other section that was really key for me. Can we truly change? A lot of people believe that after so many years that you can't change.
That they're just programmed.
Absolutely. But that, you know, that's a key, because your mind is like a computer, and you program in things and that's what you spit out. So if you can change that program, then you can spit something else out that's different.
Right.
So my answer to that question is an unequivocal yes. If I can do it, anyone can. And I believe that we can all change. We just have to believe in ourselves.
Now, Cassie, you wrote, "The key to happiness, the greatest secret of all, looking at the future and finding true love."
Right.
And I know that you've sold us on how you can spot a jerk magnet a mile away, but the real question, the big question that I know I'm interested in knowing.
I know what you're going to say.
Have you found true love?
Well, I think you're going to have to read my book to find that out. I will say that I am living proof that fairy tales can come true.
Thank you so much for being here with us, Cassie, and telling us your incredible story.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us again. My name's Anastasia Bartolucci, and please tune in next time when we reel in our next star.